Considering a move to Chicago, there's a unique feature of Chicago that you need to know. What is it? Alleys.
So Chicago has over 1,900 miles, just think about that, of alleys behind all the different homes and the businesses as well. And if you include the older sections of a lot of the nearby suburbs surrounding Chicago, I don't even know how much that would go
Yeah,
up.
way
But
up.
there's over 1,900 miles of alleys in Chicago. Why do we have so many alleys, do you ask? It was actually suggested in the mid-1800s by the city planners. They wanted to increase function of businesses and residents as well as efficiency.
So if you're comparing your visit to, let's say, New York City or maybe the other eastern seaboard cities to Chicago, we've been to New York. You walk down some of the main streets of New York, and what is on the sidewalks in the evenings and probably even during the day?
Piles of garbage bags.
Yes. You're not going to see that in Chicago. I would say it will be very rare if you are walking around anywhere in the city of Chicago where you're going to see garbage bags put out in front. That's because the alleys are in the back, and that's where the garbage goes.
And that's what the city planners were talking about. They wanted to keep things off the main streets and keep everything behind the homes and businesses. So like Jean mentioned, the garbage collection of the homes and businesses, keep it in the back. And back then they delivered coal and ice and food deliveries and other supplies behind the homes. They wanted to keep it off the main streets.
Before the automobiles were brought into the picture, even some of these areas behind the homes were reserved for horses. So not a lot of that was even in the front of the properties as well. And what do horses leave behind sometimes? That was also in the alley, so that no one could see it or smell it as much.
There you go. And then later came obviously garages and cars and what have you. Some of the stables and what have you were converted into garages, or garages were built for the new invention, the automatic horse, the
automobile,
the car. And then also utility lines. I mean, electricity was around, became around, and then gas lights. Gas and gas lights first, and then electricity.
Yes.
And then you had all the other utilities, which and then telephone and cable TV and everything else. This way, it's all kept along the alleys, so you don't see them running around all over the place.
So the different thing that you might find if we're out looking at homes and we're driving down a street that has been built on an alley, what may seem so different from what you're accustomed to is that you don't see any area to park. So your natural inclination is that you have to park on the street. No, there's the little bit of an alley that's going to go down in between two streets of homes. So a lot of times if you face Main Street and another address faces Elm Street, those two properties are going to share an alley that goes right down the back of the houses.
And that was all done with just to keep everything, to remain clean and more attractive. The more affluent neighborhoods, if you will, wanted to keep everything behind.
And all the green grass in the front. We've talked about Chicago bungalows in the past. Chicago bungalows might have been built on an alley. There's a very good chance that a lot of them were built on an alley. So when you drive down a bungalow row, you are going to see all front porches and green grass, and that was done intentionally.
And then I mentioned that a lot of the older neighborhoods, especially the older suburbs, they have alleys. But as suburban spread continued, you got larger lots as opposed to the 25 by 125 standard,
City
if you will,
lots.
Chicago lot. The lots got bigger, and then also there's cost to alley. You have to pave it, you have to put sewers back there, you also have to have sewers out front. So to reduce the cost and all of that, really reduce the need for an alley in a lot of the suburbs.
Right. We are going to see a lot of suburbs still with alleys, even in Des Plaines where we are. There are some properties, they're more unique, that are on alleys. Yeah. And your garbage collection is also then collected on the alley. A lot of people that live on alleys are not taking their garbage out in front. So going back to the city, not having any of their garbage out in front, in the suburbs, if you're on an alley, your garbage cans are in the back as well.
Sure, sure. And then a lot of the people growing up in Chicago and some of the suburbs and the older neighborhoods of the suburbs with the alleys, they talk about playing in there. You played stickball, we played hockey in alleys. You did a lot of playing in the alleys, and you'll actually probably see on Facebook and other places that they wax nostalgic, if you will, about playing in the alleys and growing up in the alleys.
There's a lot of movies that feature, children playing in the alleys. Now, alleys aren't as busy, so to play in the alley, not going to say it's always safe. You still have to be careful. There can still be automobiles on an alley, but it's very different than playing on a street that has a lot more traffic coming up and down it as well.
And if you want to look at how well maintained a neighborhood is, one of the things we suggest is go take a look at the alleys. If the alleys are neat and tidy and clean, you'll have neat and tidy neighbors.
Absolutely. Now bringing our real estate knowledge back into this again as well. If you're looking for a property and you find one that you like that happens to be on an alley, our suggestion almost every time with a buyer is, especially in the winter, go take a look at that alley after there has been a snowfall where a snowplow would need to go down the alley and clear it. I'm going to say, my opinion, I don't live on an alley, but alleys are not going to be the first roadways that are going to be cleared when it snows. So if you live on an alley, expect a little bit of time to pass before you're cleared out. The other thing that you want to look at if you're a buyer that's considering a house on an alley is if they're clearing the snow, where does it go? Do they push it to the end? Do they take it out? Where does that additional snow go, especially if the home that you're identifying is at the far end of an alley?
And if it's not in the winter, you ask the neighbors that you see on the street.
100%.
When you're showing
How
the
do
house.
they clear this? You don't need any surprises if we can avoid them.
So that's all we have about alleys. It's very unique to the Chicagoland area, and we'd like to bring that information to you. And if you're ever looking to buy in the Chicagoland area or sell in the Chicagoland area, we are Joe and Jean Morella, the spouses selling houses with Keller Williams.